In every NFL game, there's on average 153 plays. So many of those plays get overlooked and only the big shining stars of the best highlights will show. But it takes all 150 plays to get to the end of the game. I know that sounds obvious and you're probably wondering what I'm trying to get at, so hear me out. In every game of football, but especially the Super Bowl, there can be many unsung stars. If you are unfamiliar with that term, it means players who made huge impacts but don't get talked about or recognized as much because it might not have been the flashiest, highest viewed clip or play. In the Super Bowl, the Chiefs had so many unsung heroes that showed why this Kansas City Chiefs team was able to go on this deep playoff run. They are all super disciplined and have the best coaching staff around them who constantly instills nothing less. I want to highlight on a few players in this video, but let's start out with what I think one of the biggest was, which was Noah Gray. He had 2 big receptions for 22 yards, but he also made this huge play on Fred Warner. I'm not sure if you caught this, but if you watch on the pass to Kelsey at the very end of the 4th quarter with 15 seconds or so left, the Chiefs ran a mesh concept, which usually means 2 receivers are going to be crossing each other, and Kelsey was coming across with Fred Warner on him. As Noah Gray is coming across the other side of Kelsey, he jumps in front of Warner to throw him off his tracks completely, giving Mahomes a perfectly open window to Kelsey on one of the league's best defenders. That right there is the perfect example of knowing when to make the right play. This sport is a team sport, and that is all the proof you need. Noah Gray, by doing something that simple in his route, made Mahomes and Kelsey's job even easier in the highest stage of football. Another huge unsung hero that helped the Chiefs go back-to-back is Leo Chanel. Leo had 6 tackles with 3 being solo. He forced a fumble and he was the one who blocked the extra point. He came up huge for the Chiefs and his performance was so good he was the highest rated player in the whole entire Super Bowl. His blocked extra point was a huge momentum shift in that game. That was the last thing I think anybody expected to happen in the Super Bowl. I mean, a blocked extra point doesn't happen often. He made one of the biggest plays when he needed to the most. Without that blocked extra point, the Chiefs wouldn't have been able to just tie the game to go to overtime. If the 49ers had just made that point, it would have completely altered the whole offensive plan when going out on their drive. Who knows what would have ended up happening if that blocked field goal didn't happen. He also was all over the field like I mentioned and came up with some of the biggest plays in the game. This player right here completely put this game back in the Chiefs' hand. Tommy Townsend with his perfect punt that bounced off the receiving team, which led to the muff punt, which led to the touchdown. After recovering the ball, the very next play was a touchdown, so that play was huge. Chiefs signed former Bills punter Matt Araiza, who was once known as the punt god. This is a great signing for the Chiefs since Tommy's contract has come to an end and they were able to sign Matt for a lot cheaper than what they would have signed Tommy for. Another unsung hero in this game was Mike Pennell. He had the highest rating out of all defensive linemen. He had 6 combined tackles, but the whole game he brought constant pressure. Without his presence on the interior of the defensive line, McCaffrey would have ran for way more than he did. He would have probably performed a whole lot better. He was completely dominating the line and was even taking down Trent Williams. He was matched up against Williams most of the game and won almost every snap. The Chiefs going into this offseason will have some holes to fill in since some players from this defense might be leaving, but they still have stars that aren't talked about. This team went through so much adversity to get to the Super Bowl and win. That took a team effort. Not just Mahomes and Coach Reed. It took everybody. The Chiefs are going to have to focus on signing another wide receiver like everybody keeps saying. There's no doubt in my mind, Brett Veach is going to do a great job in the draft, and I've been saying it, I think the Chiefs are going to sign a wide receiver in the 1st round. But regardless, they always sign good defensive players that they can develop. This offense was being called the worst offense in the league by everybody. I mean, they were getting straight up disrespect and it was almost as if it was deserved. They led the league in drops and looked like they would never click, but they managed to when it mattered the most. Which if you look at all their last Super Bowl runs where they've won, they've came back from being down in many games. The first Super Bowl run they won, they were down in every single game in the playoffs. It was even down by 24 in the divisional round against the Texans. They ended up winning that game 51-31, by the way. They were down by 10 in the Super Bowl in the 4th quarter with about less than 10 minutes left and after Mahomes had already thrown an interception, and they still came back and won. And then last season with the Bengals and Burrowhead, nobody thought the Chiefs would win that game. Everyone loved to try and say the Bengals own the Chiefs for some reason when all they've done is beat them once in the AFC Championship game now 3 seasons ago. I feel like if they were going to do it again, they already missed their opportunity to. This team has the best shot to be the first team to ever do it. And who's to say that they'll just stop there? People love to talk about Tom Brady. He went 10 years without winning a championship after winning his first 3. Saying it, but Mahomes is not going 10 years without winning another championship. I want to talk about Matt Araiza again for those who don't know about who he is. He's actually never even played an NFL game. All we've really seen from him in the NFL is just this, casual 86-yard punt in the preseason. Matt was never actually able to play his rookie season for the Bills due to allegations that were later proven not true. The Chiefs thought this would be a perfect opportunity to pick him up as he has so much talent that he's proven before. He has yet to prove in the NFL at the highest stage. He was a high prospect, and now that he gets a shot in the NFL, it'll be exciting to see what he can do. Tommy Townsend most likely will not be returning to the Chiefs, and some may even say he's one of the best punters in the league, as he's so often put teams in awkward positions. But this is a great pickup because they signed him for a much lower price than Tommy would be asking, and he has such good potential. Matt broke many records in college. He not only led the nation in punting averages at 51.4 yards per punt, but he also had 6 punts of at least 70 yards that season, which led the country. To put it in perspective, last NFL season, there were only 14 punts of 70 yards or more by every punter in the NFL combined. He also boomed an 86-yarder in college, which was the longest for that season. The Chiefs always do well and know exactly what they're doing when it comes to signing players. It's going to be interesting to see how his time with the Chiefs goes, especially as we start getting into training camp. The draft combine is soon, and I already know Brett Veach and the rest of the staff are working their magic. The Chiefs are going to do what they can to three-peat, and they're going to make many offseason signings that are going to push their team forward. Even if they lose some pieces in this defense, they're going to do what they can in the draft in the offseason to be able to compete for the first ever three-peat in NFL history.